I've got napkins. I just received another shipment from NinnysNapkins, and well, this isn't all of them. I took out the Christmas ones. I will be showing those in a few weeks with hopefully some Christmas inspired tutorials. In this video, I'm not only going to show you what is some of the newest napkins that are available at NinnysNapkins.com, but also I'm hoping to jumpstart your creativity. I'm going to give you some ideas of how I'm going to use these napkins. I've brainstormed, I've written myself some notes here to share with you so you get the most out of the napkins that you have. There is a link to Ninny's Napkins and a coupon code in the description box below if you are interested or want a closer look at anything here. So let's get started. This beauty is called Glory Harvest. Love, love, love the colors of this. Now, and it comes in two sizes. It comes in the 5x5 and I think this is 6.5 by 6.5. Beautiful fall colors that you can use on a decoupage project. I grabbed this wheat stalks stencil. I think that just goes with the overall fall theme here. Now, when I'm planning what to use with the napkins, I also grab my templates, and then I can see, is it going to make a good 6x6 art journal page or card? Can I use it on a tag? How does it work for a coaster? Now, if I was using this as a coaster, I think what I would do is I would water cut around the elements, or I would just glue this onto a piece of copy paper and cut out the elements after I take off the plies and then use it on my pages. Now, this one is called Roslin, and I've been doing some work on this here, so just to give you a better idea. Now, this is beautiful and I love the colors. It's just for how I create, I don't know that I would use this together. I could put this on the back, use it as an Insta Background, but what I think I might do more so is harvest the elements. And what I mean by that, I just took the napkin and I rough cut these elements. I love the hydrangeas. And then I would use this on, let's just grab a page here, on a page to build up what I have. I'd either water cut it more closely. We also have these design elements, little corner curls. I kind of like that. And I'm really liking the flowers of this. So that could be just a single one. This could be on a coaster. There's a coaster size and I could put that there, put a sentiment on there. Likewise, a 4x4 magnet. So once you release the elements from their background, you can play around with them. I'm really loving the purple with that teal. So I'm taking note of the color scheme there as well. This napkin's called Vincent Green. And again, I would tend to take off the plies, glue it down onto copy paper. There's lots here. And then just cut out the various sunflowers. I might leave them together if they're connected. I might have them all separate, and then I would use them as fodder, as ephemera on an art journal page, a tag, what have you. Another thing that I can do here is cut strips and use them as a border. That would work really well. This would also make a lovely coaster. set or fridge magnet set, 4x4s. And everyone would be a little different. Just take your template till you see something that you like. So in my last reveal, I showed you this beautiful napkin. It's called Bright Autumn, and the colors are to die for. It was, I believe it was only a 5x5. I'm thrilled this comes in a bigger size. Now I love this oak leaf collection here, so I would harvest those, cut them, rough cut them, and then either glue them onto copy paper or leave them with the backs on it, fold it in my storage system, and I'll put a link to that video so you know what I do. Now, one of the things that some napkins do is they connect. So if you wanted to get a bigger section, no, that's not it. There we go. Just keep turning them. Now, do you see how it's a perfect seamless match? So this comes in handy if you are working on something a little bigger than the 13 inches across. So if I was working on this is a 10x20 canvas, and I wanted to cover this with this pattern, that comes in handy. I probably would offset it so it's not smack dab in the middle. And then I can get that perfect seamless thing. So even if that was a big serving platter you were doing on glass, so look for napkins that connect. They don't all, but that's an added advantage to you. So this one again is called Bright Autumn, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Comes in a couple different sizes. So make sure you're getting the size that you want. So this one is called Falling Leaves, and when I open it up, there's a big surprise in the middle. Not only do I love the background, we've got shadow leaves interplaying with the colored stenciled leaves, which I'm going to steal that idea and duplicate that, not only with my leaf stencils and stamps, but also with other stencils, flowers and different things. I'm going to kind of duplicate the look of that. So I'm going to steal that idea, but I love this right across the bottom. We have this banner in the middle, and I would just watercut around this after I've taken off the layers, put that down below, and then either have a sentiment, mix it with some sunflowers, a different focal point, what have you. But that just gives a beautiful kind of border. I could use it as a border on each side as well. So lots of ideas. This one's called Falling Leaves. This sunflower napkin is called Le Tournest. And what I like about it is this is connected. Nothing's cut off. So you get this larger banner that will fit up to 12 inches across. But again, this one does connect. And when you have the two napkins, you can see that there is a match there. So you can match it up perfectly on, I believe this one works on both sides. So one of the ideas that I have for this one is actually putting it on this 10x20, running it down the middle, and then stenciling the word welcome or welcome fall down the middle. So it's looking like this. I also have some stencils, lots of sunflower stencils from TCW. I could incorporate that as well. So again, I'd watercut, get the gray background off. I could reuse that on as collage background. Loving that. wine lovers, this is an absolutely beautiful wine. This would make a beautiful card for the wine lover. Mix it up with my Wine About It sentiment pack. You can put a funny saying on there, add a Julie Nutting doll in front of it and the sentiment from the Wine About It sentiment pack. And we have two Oriental Japanese feeling napkins, both with cranes on them. And I'm just going to open them up. This is absolutely beautiful artwork in a bright red color. This would fit a 12 by 12. You can put it on a mixed media board or a canvas. I would add some gold stenciling to it, gold modeling paste to add to it, just building it up. Loving everything about it. This one's called Red Crane, and this one is called Cranes, and I love the watercolor effect here, and I would duplicate that for my background. Now, you can mix and match with your stencils and your stamps. For instance, I have this ginkgo leaves stencil. I could add a border of ginkgo leaves onto my page. There's also, I've got mixed media stamps from Stamperia, some Oriental, we've got the girls, the pagoda. This branch, cherry blossom branch, you can add to it. Bamboo, some words. So mix and match. This would make a lovely card, just as it is, quick and easy. It would also make a nice set of coasters. Whether you use it exactly as it is, using the whole thing, just decoupage it down, or whether you recreate the background using your stamps and stencils and texture pastes. This napkin is called Flower Story, and I've already used some of it. It's a good all over pattern, and all over patterns are great for decoupaging on buckets, on tin cans, and that's what I've done here. This is a tin can that I saved from the recycle bin from coffee, and I've just decoupaged the napkin down. I don't know if I'm going to put words on here yet. Add some more contrasting color, pick out that coral color, which I love. Now, these can sit on my counter. They can store stuff in the cupboard. I can coordinate it with the different colors of the different seasons, and that's kind of my goal with that. This is called Giselle, and again, we have a good all over pattern, some bright pinks and yellows, very soft pastel watercolor. So you can use this as an all over pattern, or I love this spray right here. So I would just rough cut that and use that on an art journal page on the corner, and then make my own watercolor background. This is called Annette, and I am drawn to the unusual color combo here. We've got purples and yellows, which of course they're complementary colors. Complementary colors work well together. That's following basic color theory, but you've got the oranges in there, very fall themed. Now, how would I use this? Well, first off, this is one of the ones that connect. Nope. There we go. And usually it's only one way, so I just mark on my little post-it here that it connects once I've opened it up. And that way I know for future benefits, future use, that I could put this on a background of something that is bigger, or even if I wanted to put it on a tin can, and then I have a seamless joining. So I can use this as an all-over background. I might use this as an Insta background, knock back some of it, bring out some of the things. I would also, I think, harvest a lot of the purple elements in here. I love, love, love them. Now, here's something else. I can use this as a Insta background. Glue, decoupage that down right on it. And then on top or off to the side, use a printable. Now I'm using a daisy printable because there's kind of the daisies there, and that can go as on the card as well. So you have an Insta background, quick, easy card, add the free printable, paint it or don't as you see fit, and away you go. These smaller elements here are also going to work well on these keychains. You put one there and the word inspire or create or different things like that. So this one's a net. This one is called Country Fruits. I love the colors here, the soft colors. I'm really drawn to that. This is just a 5x5, but these make perfect coasters. If you can just move it around a little bit, you can play with it. Or fridge magnets. And I believe this one also connects. This is called Heloise. And I love the vintage feel. Now there's all sorts of elements here that I would harvest. Now, of course, you can use it as an Instacard. Just decoupage it down or on a 6x6 panel. What I think I would end up doing would be, I would harvest the hydrangea and put this on my 7x10 art journal page. I would recreate my own background. I might take some of this script on here and put it on using my stamps and stencils, some modeling paste, really go put some vintage papers, book papers, music papers underneath that. I might also harvest, just cut out just the hydrangeas and have, if I was doing a larger page, I would do 3 of them. So when I talk about harvesting, I'm not going to do this for all of them, but in order to release it from the napkin and be able to addition it on your page, what I would do is just rough cut these out. Now, these elements I'm not getting rid of. These are going to be collage elements on another page. And I have various bins and buckets in my studio. I just put them in there, and then when I want collage papers or I'm breaking a page, I just grab for what's in there. So this, we can go. But once you release this from the napkin, you can play with it. I can make this go, and they are going, we have them going 2 ways. I can add them and change the composition to what I want. And then I will decide to either water cut it and glue it right down onto the page if the background's very light, or I may glue it onto copy paper, and then once that's dry, cut it out and glue it on the page. But I'm loving the soft colors here, and I love the 3. And then I can see some modeling paste here. Now this one is called Darla. Now I was brainstorming ideas for Darla. Now Darla has, again, this vibrant color scheme. You've got reds and purples and violets and orange. Very unusual. So one of the things you can do, again, following that trick, if I wanted to do this, I could put that on the background, Insta Background on a card, and then put a printable. This isn't the exact flower, but it goes, and it's a quick, easy way of turning your napkins into cards. You're not worried about a background or anything else. Just quick, easy multi-makes. Now let's see what else we can do. Well, here I've spent some time and I cut out some of the elements. And again, once you release it from the napkin, you can start to play with it. You can arrange it however you want on your page and fill it up. So you can have some up here. I might arrange it up and put the sentiment. This one, if I forgot to say, is called Darla. Now the other thing is you can mix and match it with magazine. So we have this girl. And just suddenly the colors work together. The other thing you can do is you've got a butterfly printable. The other wing, use the flowers and build up the other wing. So one wing is the very traditional from the printable, and then use the flowers to build it up. So any of those napkins that we saw earlier, where you have different elements that I talked about harvesting, like this one, you could build up those individual flowers and make the other wing for your butterflies, and then you've made it your own. So don't be afraid to cut up your napkin. And then on your little Post-it notes, and I highly recommend you keep little Post-it notes on them, write down what you would use it with, if you have an idea, or just tuck that in there and leave it. I think I'd also maybe put the wheat stalks on there in the gold and yellow. I think that would go really well. When you also cut, before we go away from this, when you cut these up and you have the individual elements, you have a lot more flexibility on size. This would go on a 6x6 card. That could be on the corner. The rest of the card, you do your own work. Ooh, I love that. It would also work on a magnet, a fridge magnet. So when I cut them out, I'll often cut them out if I know that that's how I'm going to use them. Then I fold them up in here and they go in the sheet protector in my storage system. So it keeps everything neat and tidy, and I might just put this in here as well. This napkin I loved when I saw it first appear on Ninny's site, and I've cut apart a couple of them here. This is called Hella Gray. It's Hellebore's, and you have the bright pink and the bright purple. Pink, purple, white. Love, love, love these colors. So I'm cutting them out just so I can play with the orientation. And I just rough cut it. I've left the backs on and I've rough cut it. That just gives me the option. They're a little, well, that could work for a coaster or a magnet. One of the things that I could do here is you can get like half faces, and again you can cut these out and build it up, make her hair flowing flowers. So any of the flower elements, when you're harvesting them, you can just build it up. You can mix and match from a variety of napkins, not just one. Now this Hella Gray does come in 2 sizes, but unlike most of the napkins that I've seen that come in 2 sizes, the small one is not identical. It has beautiful individual flowers. Again, I would glue that down onto copy paper after taking off the 2 plies, fussy cut it, and then I can take them and build them up or mix and match with some of these larger ones and have the flowing hair. This is called Eliza, and I don't know if you can tell, it's purple gray, and I love that combination. I would try to find a background, a gel print. It's got kind of the deep violet in there. So I try to either find a gel print or collage paper that I have that works. This one would also work. You can cut out the individual elements and have her hair going down. I can't think what the name of this flower is. I know I grew it in my yard, but I cannot think of the name of it. But I love, love, love the colors. This napkin is called Tulips, and it has 4 different tulips in a row. So of course, what I've done on just a neutral nothing background, I've cut them out, and I would put one on a 6x6 art journal page or card. It would also, it's a little small, a little too big for a 4x4 in my world. If I was putting it on a seven by 10, I might put 3 of them. But by cutting them apart, I can play with the image. This napkin is called Marche de Fleur. Again, love everything about it. We've got script in the background. We've got vintage colors. Now you can just, this is a 5x5. I would just cut out the 5x5 squares and glue this, decoupage it down onto a 6x6 panel. That's what this is. And then have a framed. Wouldn't that look lovely? Put it on a card or an art journal page, 6x6. This would also work lovely. And they are going opposite to make coasters. Now we're getting into birds and woodland creatures, and this one is called Woodland Birds. Would make a beautiful neutral coaster. You've got kind of an all-over pattern, but you do get 4 of each, and you can get that, you can get that one. With some tweaking, you might be able to get. I love the color scheme. It's very brown and gray together. Now this, interestingly enough, it comes with, there's a matching napkin, and I see a lot of the napkins come, there was like a series of them. Now, isn't that gorgeous? That would look so amazing on a background, and then you can add whatever to it, or you can harvest the elements and then build them, add them to the page as you want, either with this Woodland Birds or with something totally different. This would look nice maybe add the color with that. This, the botanicals, I totally can harvest and use those elements. I can even paint them out. If I don't want the gray, I can put a coat of gel medium, or preferably clear gesso on top, and then I can use my Inktense blocks or paints to paint them and shade them green, different shades of green, or whatever color I want to have. This napkin is called Cantori, and I only have one because I already made it. I used the crackle glaze from Polyvine that I got from NinnysNapkins, and I made these crackle coasters. These are on wood coasters, and I overpainted them. And there'll be a video coming soon showing this. I think we've seen this one before, but I think it was a smaller size, so I'm absolutely thrilled that it is now a 6.5 by 6.5. It's called Sweet Little Bird. Love the size of it. It's got yellow and blue in it. This would make a perfect card. You know, Instacard, if that's your way of doing it, but I would add some script, maybe some music paper behind these open areas, some texture paste if I was making a card, or again, it's perfect for a 7 by 10 art journal page. That's what we have here. It would even work on a 9 by 12. Especially if you paired it with, we have this one, which is called Birds, and it's just very small scale. Now, these ones make for inlays on your art journal page. So I could have kind of a swoop of the birds on either side, but I think what I might do here, or I have an idea, I might cut out some circles with the birds and have that on the page with some yellow circles, pulling out the yellow or the blue, and then I play with adding this. So just mix and match. So if you see two napkins that might go together, stick them together and store them together. Write down your notes. We've seen these guys before. We have Sweet Hedgehog and Sweet Fox, and they come in a multiple amount of sizes. We have the pocket tissue. You get 5 pocket tissues. You get 2 of the 5x5s and 2 of the 6.5 by 6.5. So depending on what you want to create, there is the perfect size. Beautiful coaster. Using the pocket tissues. Now when you open up the pocket tissue, you might get only 2 out of them, depending on how you do it. Pocket tissues, not really liking it for an ATC, but like a fridge magnet with a cute little sentiment. And you can, remember those fall leaves ones? You can mix and match with that. It has the same color. That's too big. This would make a cute card. There's a cute coaster, and just offset it. I would put it more to the side like that. So again, from one of the 5x5s, you're going to get 4 coasters. And you can make them identical, or you could just play with the orientation a bit. Put the sentiment, what does the fox say? I used to sing that with my kids in school. So we have Sweet Hedgehog and Sweet Fox. Great fridge magnets. This would be good on a composition book, I think. Just the right size. The hedgehog goes a little bit the other way. I guess it could go that way on the composition book. Those composition books make great stocking stuffers, little gifts. So this one is called Fuchs, which is German for fox, which it's ideal home range napkin. I like the blue and the orange, of course, complementary colors, so that's going to look great. You can use it as is on an art journal page, on a card, a 6x6 or a 5x7 if that's your card. You can, instead of the leaves here, you can use flowers like we talked about with the girl's face. This is Woodland Fox, and I think it's part of the Woodland series. It has those same gray and brown and grayish colors. It also has this branch, which would be a nice design element, collage element to add to another page. So I probably would use the fox on a page. I'm not sure. I have to think about sentiments for what would go with that, but I'd use these branches as a collage element on something else. But that definitely goes with the Woodland series. 2 more woodland creatures. We have Elg and Ripe in that gray beige watercolory look. You can make cards with this. You can combine it with these woodland leaves. It's that same color scheme, although I do think it's a different maker, but I'm not sure about that. This one is called Squirrel in the Forest. And here is another one in the series. And what I would do is I would mix and match. Now I love this wreath or semi-wreath that's here. I would maybe, you know, do one with the squirrel. These make beautiful Instacards. You can, if I was doing this on an art journal page, I would use the elements that are in here. In this napkin, in the forest, they have the exact mushrooms and leaves. And so I can build in a complete wreath if I wanted to by fussy cutting these elements, but I would glue these down on copy paper first. Otherwise, it's just going to be mayhem. It'll be just too difficult. I could build my own swoop, cut out the squirrel, use a bird or a fox or something else, we could add that in here. Ooh, I like that. So again, mix and match what you have. Now with this, I was also going to say one thing. I've made myself a template for a border. So you can just write, I can cut strips of it, and that green color, because it's in the same series, they're going to match. They've done the hard work for you, so we can mix and match with that. I think I'm just going to leave that in here. Here's another one with the wreath, and you get 4. This is called Autumn Fruits because there's blackberries and raspberries and other kinds of berries with a little bird. And they're going opposite directions. That makes a nice card. You could put a sentiment in the middle and away you're done. This one is called Mushroom Harvest. Love that. Again, you know, and we've got script in the background, postage stamps. We can turn this into an art journal page. We can harvest just this element and use the other elements as collage papers for something else. This would work for a coaster, but I would water cut. These are autumn celebrities, and these are like the perfect size for these keychains. I would water cut around here. They can go on to fridge magnets, or you can buy those wood rounds and decoupage that on there. I think that would look really, really cute. You could also cut these out and into the circles and have several on a larger page. So I would cut the badger, the hedgehog, the fox, the squirrel, mount them on circles, and then have them floating through the page. This is also the perfect size for ATCs. Or they would fit on a mini composition book. Or on a coaster. But you would just fussy or water cut around here, do your background, and just have one of them on there. So lots of possibilities, more than I first imagined. This one comes in 2 sizes, and I think this would make an interesting background. This is called Magic Trees, and they are birch trees. So you have the background. So if you put that onto a 12 by 12, then you could have some of the woodland creatures down here. Or just use this as an interesting background. And this one comes in the 6.5 as well as the 5.5, 5-inch one. Oh, I think that would work right there. So that fits on my 7 by 10. It's perfect. And then I'm going to play with some kind of woodland creature down here. I could put the mushrooms, maybe. I can cut that squirrel. Maybe put the fox there. Do you have any ideas what you would put in front? I'm liking the 5 by 5 because it fits, because you want that top of the trees with this. But that would make an interesting beginning of a background. This would also work really well, I think, if you wanted to. Okay, there's. Make a border with it. Cut it into strips. So this napkin is called Animals of the World. And I'm feeling very Noah's Ark, although there's not 2 of every animal. We have all of those, and so you get 2 stretched out panels. So this should be about 13 inches. Yeah, well, a little over 12, not quite 13 inches. What I would do here, this just makes me feel like it's a baby's room. This is a canvas, a 10 by 20. I would put this in the corner, decoupage that in the corner, and then have texture paste, do some kind of background, even if it's a neutral background, and then it's a jungle out there, or 2 by 2, something. It's very pastel, but I think that would look beautiful. If you want to do it smaller, you can just do half. Now, as a card, that fills the entire card, so that could be an Insta card. But if you wanted to do it on a larger page, you can have that in the corner, just half of it, and then do whatever. So maybe what I might try to do is this would fit. This is the 9 by 12 art journal page, so it fits right across there. And then I can just put a sentiment across the top, do some kind of a bluish background to bring out the blues in some of the animals. If you did it on a 9 by 12 wood panel, this could be, you know, so-and-so's room. It could be a door plaque. So we're at the end of the video. Was I successful? Did you get one new idea for a way to use a particular napkin or napkins in general? Share with me in the comment section below. Let me know which napkin you want to see me using. I have lots of ideas now. Now I just need to go and play. Until next time, go get creative.